Okay guys, so for today's video, we're gonna be talking about things to know before your first powerlifting meet. So a lot of people, they're tempted to get into competing. They're kind of 1 foot in, 1 foot out. There's a lot of stuff they don't know. But before I get into that, if you like the video, give it an upvote, subscribe, comment for the sake of the algorithm. It helps grow the channel. I've got a good microphone on the way because those reaction videos, the audio was all messed up. And I've been working on that, but I got a good microphone coming. Camera quality is way better as far as my webcam. I got a 1080 HD camera for the podcast moving forward and everything. So they're gonna get a lot better coming up here. So I should have the new microphone and the new camera for when I interview Sawyer Klatt on Saturday. And then obviously for the Larry Wheels one as well. So the John Hack one is still on the old camera without the microphone. So it's not gonna be as good of quality, but that one's gonna be released on Friday. That's coming up. But as far as this video, so the biggest hang up, I have a few notes here, the biggest hang up people have as far as doing their first meet, their strength standards. So everybody always says the classic, oh, I'm not ready, I'm not strong enough. Maybe in a year when I have hit these certain numbers, these certain arbitrary numbers, then maybe I'll compete. And everybody says that before their first meet. Everybody thinks they're not strong enough. But you guys gotta realize, not everyone at the meet is going to be deadlifting like 800 pounds and doing crazy feats of strength. It's just not like that. Like, you are on a personal level are going to get way better if you just jump into the water. The water's warm, just jump in and start competing, because that's going to make you much better. It's going to expose your weaknesses. What a meet can do that training can't is expose weaknesses you didn't even know were there. Because you're literally pushing yourself to that upper limit of what's possible for your body. And you also have like strict judging to, tell you if your lifts are legit or not. Because you could be doing all sorts of stuff in training that would not get passed in a meet. So you're just going to get better in general. You're going to see what needs to be worked on when you get into competition. And I see the people who compete on a consistent basis progress at a faster rate than those who don't. Plain and simple. Competition and having that end goal is what's going to drive you. That's going to lead to the best progress. So I would say, even if you don't think you're strong enough, compete, because it's going to yield better progress long term. You don't have to go into the first meet, trying to beat everybody and win. Like, you guys see all these guys on Instagram hitting these crazy numbers, and you think everyone's doing that. But I've coached 1,000 guys, and I've only once had one pull over 800 pounds in a meet. Or even in training for that matter. So that's one in over 1,000. So this isn't like people aren't hitting these crazy numbers all the time. So don't be intimidated by what everyone else is hitting. Don't be comparing yourself to what everyone else is hitting. Like, go in, try to beat your numbers, have a fun day. That's one of the biggest things. So it's gonna make you better. Like, you're just gonna progress at a faster rate. Now, something else to know, guys, it's a long day. So typically you're going to get at the meet venue at about 8 a.m. The meet's going to start at 9 a.m. with the women's flight. And then there's going to be usually 3 or 4 flights. So it could take till noon to get through squats. Usually if it starts at 9, you're going to be done 11, 11:30. It could take upwards of till noon. So you could be at the meet till 6 p.m. So you might be there from 8 a.m. to 6 p.m. It's a long, exhausting day. You have to learn how to pace yourself. This is why don't go crazy and hit the ammonia on every freaking attempt like I see people do at meets. You don't need to be hitting ammonia on your openers and second attempts. You should save that for your third deadlift attempt so that you don't have an adrenaline dump. And you gotta kind of manage the caffeine intake. I have, maybe a scoop of pre-workout, let's say 300 milligrams of caffeine. I would have that before squats, about 30 minutes before squats. And then I would not have any more caffeine before bench or anything like that. I would have another scoop of pre-workout maybe before deadlift. So that's 600 milligrams, which is way more than I would ever have in a training day. So in a training day or a typical day, I'm gonna have 200 to 300 milligrams of caffeine tops. Usually for me, I have 200 milligrams of caffeine every day. So 600 is way more than I would normally have. But it's a meet day, that's okay. But just don't go crazy with it. If you have caffeine before bench too, you're probably gonna burn out. It's just your body can't be amped up that much. So I have a little before squat, kind of wake me up, get me ready. Then I chill, don't have anything before bench. And then I have more right before deadlift to finish the day out. And you know, you're gonna be exhausted at the end of the day either way, so it's all good. Ibuprofen, if you're one of these people who gets a lot of brachialis pain right here, right up here, your biceps, if you get forearm pain, if you get golfer's elbow pain, if you get any shoulder pain from doing low bar, take a 200 milligram ibuprofen before squat and take another 200 milligram ibuprofen before bench. This will somewhat numb your arms and allow you to get through the day. I know some guys prefer 800 milligrams, but this is if you have that, you know, that achiness from low bar you get, or if squats in general beat you up for bench. It's not a bad idea. Now, ibuprofen's not great for the liver. I don't normally recommend it, and I don't normally rely on it myself. But on meet day, you know, you got to kind of throw everything in your favor. So that's another thing to keep in mind. But as far as it being a long day, this is why you have to drink all day long. You have to stay hydrated. I prefer to make a 50-50 concoction of Gatorade and Pedialyte. And I drink this throughout the day in like a big gallon jug. Now, you have to stay hydrated. You have to make sure you're peeing fairly clear for most of the day, so you're on top of the hydration game. Also, don't neglect your sodium intake. This is why I recommend having some chips during the meet. Chips are really good sodium sources and carbs as well. So that's going to keep you going, because if your sodium sinks, your hands are going to start swelling and it's going to be hard to hold the bar on deadlift. You also are going to want to make sure you eat before every main lift. So before squats, I would eat about 2 hours beforehand, a fairly decent sized breakfast. Nothing crazy to where you're going to be bloated, but have some food. Then eat again like a sub or a sandwich before bench, and then again before deadlift, a sub or sandwich, something like that. Otherwise, you're just going to crash. Like, you're burning tons of calories throughout the day. You have to eat. Have to stay on top of hydration first and foremost, but eating as well. Now, weigh-ins, it depends on your federation. If you're going USAPL, your weigh-ins are going to be 2 hours before the meet. So I think they weigh you in at like 7 a.m. Your meet's going to be at 9. That's a quick turnaround, guys. So if you're doing USAPL, I would not cut weight, because the weigh-in is too close to the meet. It's just not going to be feasible. And for a first meet, I really wouldn't recommend cutting weight in general. It's going to kill your total. Your potassium levels are going to be jacked up. All your electrolytes are going to be out of balance. But just make sure you know when your weigh-ins are. If you're in USAPL, it's going to be 2 hours before. Pretty much all the other federations, well, USAPL and IPF 2 hours before. All the other federations are going to be 24 hours before. So USPA is probably the most popular federation outside of the USAPL. Their weigh-ins are 24 hours before. So you can go in at 9 a.m. the day before and you can get a full 24 hours to fuel up, or you can go in at 5 p.m. the night before. So know when your weigh-ins are. Now, calibrated plates are just different, guys. If you haven't trained on calibrated plates, don't expect to lift as much in the meet, because pound plates are often not what they say they are. They're often lighter than what they claim. They could be 42-pound plates or whatever. Calibrated plates feel different. They're tougher. You're just going to find out for yourself when you step on the platform, especially on deadlift. Calibrated plates are tougher to break off the ground. So don't expect to pull as much if you've been training on pound plates, and especially bumper plates, and then you go to calibrated plates. It's going to be way harder to budge the bar. So that's something to keep in mind. This is why really training on calibrated plates is pretty important if you really want that advantage, if you want to know what it feels like, because it is far tougher than your typical plates you're going to see at a commercial gym. You're not going to notice it as much on squats, but you'll feel it on deadlift for sure, bench as well. So just know that. I typically don't see guys bench more in meets than they have in training as well. That's something to keep in mind. You're not really going to... I've seen people have crazy adrenaline, bursts and squat and deadlift more in meets than they did in training by like 20, 25 pounds. But bench is typically, you're going to bench about what you have in the gym, if not less. And the reason for less is because of the stricter pauses. They're going to make you pause a long time when you unrack the bar, holding it there, and then in the pause on the chest. If you're in USPA and USAPL, the pauses are going to be a lot longer. So that can knock your bench down about 5 kilos, 11 pounds. So you're either going to bench probably about the same or less in the meet than what you did in training. Now, as far as equipment, you got to know, I showed up at my first meet when I was 17 years old, USAPL, and I didn't have a singlet. Like, I didn't even read the rules. I didn't know what I was doing. So I had to borrow one. You need to have a singlet, guys. And there are some singlets are not this terrible thing. Like, they don't look awful. There's a lot of cool looking singlets now that make you look good. So like the SPD singlets look pretty good. plenty of others. It's just, there's a lot of options out there. Virus are really good looking singlets. So there's options. You don't have to look terrible. You don't have to be embarrassed. But you have to have a singlet. You have to have tall socks for the deadlift. Knee-high socks. Not just tall socks. They have to go up to your knees. Otherwise, they're not going to let you lift. You also cannot deadlift barefoot. You have to either have a deadlift slipper if you want to basically feel like you're deadlifting barefoot, or you have to have some kind of shoe. This is the rules. On squat and bench, you have to have a t-shirt covering your shoulders. So you have to have a full sleeve t-shirt. Now you can take that off for deadlift, but they don't want any skin to skin. They don't want any skin contact with the plates or with the bench and with the bar. So that's why you have to have a full coverage t-shirt on squat and bench, but you don't have to on deadlift. Also, almost every federation is going to have a rule against having compression shorts. So you can't have underwear with legs that like come down. You have to have literally underwear. So keep that in mind. It's a big shock to a lot of people. You can't have like leg coverage with your underwear. It has to be legit underwear. And it doesn't have to be tighty-whities, you know, just get underwear. Like, it's not that hard. But they are going to not let you wear compression shorts. Like, they check this stuff at weigh-ins. I know, it's crazy. You know, kind of the last point I want to touch on is it's chaotic. Meet day is chaotic. It's chaotic for everybody. You have to be ready for that. It's not going to go smooth like in training where you can rest as long as you want, take your time, and, you know, do whatever you want. Like, the warm-up room is chaotic. You have to just jump in. Do not be coy. You know, do not be intimidated. Just kind of, ask guys, can I work in? Can I put this on the bar? Can I do a set? Like, they're going to be cool. But this is why you're better off warming up sooner rather than later. Do not wait till right before your flight to warm up. Like, get your warm-ups in early, and even if you have to sit around a little after warm-ups, you're going to be better off than having to, like, rush your warm-ups and make massive jumps and then rush out to the platform. That's going to stress you out. You're going to do worse. So warm up sooner rather than later, even if you're the first guy warming up. It's a good idea. But the whole meet day is generally just chaotic. Like, that's how it is. It's a tougher environment. So that's why, meet day, that's why meet numbers are way more legit than training numbers. The standards, you have to perform in this environment. It's a long day. So it legitimizes all your numbers. And it's fun, guys. It really is. You'll get the bug for it. Once you do it, you'll want to do it again. So I'd recommend everybody compete, see it brings out the best in you, plain and simple. So I would definitely say I recommend competing. Those are the main points. And if you guys like the content, every day I'm coming out with the videos. I'm making improvements with new microphone, new cameras, trying to get all the best guests I can get. I'm not saying I can get everybody. Some guys are not going to want to do it, but I'm trying to get everybody I can. So if you like the content, give me a like on the video, give me a comment for the algorithm, give me a, subscribe to the channel. I appreciate it because you guys are the ones growing the channel. I'm posting, but you're growing the channel. And I'm trying to be very responsive in the comments as well. I'm trying to interact with you guys and always be posting the community tab to see what you guys want for content and stuff like that. So I'll keep it going, but I appreciate you.